Well, last night, folks, in Florida, there was a debate between Andew, Gillum, and Ron DeSantis. Yo. Now, this is real simple. This is real simple, y'all. Now, did I watch the vote? Did I watch the debate? No, because I ain't watching Jake Tapper. But the bottom line is I do follow Twitter. No, I don't watch CNN. I don't. I mean, I could do better things like watch National Geographic. So I did follow Twitter, and the bottom line is Ron DeSantis looked like a fool last night against Andew Gillum, who was smart, who was poised, and had this uncanny ability of making DeSantis look like a complete fool. Press play.
Because my mother and father would have to get up so early in the morning to go to work, they would load us all into a car, drive us over to my grandmother's house where she would have a ritual and do two things before she'd let us cross the threshold of the door. She'd take her bottle of olive oil, also known as blessing oil, and build a cross on my forehead as a way to send us out into the day with a blessing and a covering. And then she would have this mantra where she'd say, go to school, mind your teachers, get your lesson, and one day bring that education home. She'd say, bring it home for your mama, for your daddy, who get out there and work on somebody else's job. Bring it home for your little brother and your little sister. What my grandmother was communicating to me was that it wasn't just about me. It's about all of us. And in Trump's America, we've been led to believe that we've got to step on our neighbor's shoulder in their face and their backs in order to get ahead. Well, I reject that. And we have an opportunity on November 6th as a collective, as a state, to say we deserve better. We want better. We want better schools, access to health care, a clean economy, a restorative justice system that works where hand in glove, the community and law enforcement work together for all of our benefit. I'm asking you all for the only thing in life that my mother ever told me to ask for, and that's a chance. I want to be your governor. Let's bring it home.
Now, that, of course, was a closing statement by Andew Gillum, but I just love this one. When Ron DeSantis was asked about whether or not Donald Trump was a role model. Here we go to my iPad, please. All right, let's see if we can go ahead and get this. Y'all, this is too funny. This was exactly what happened. Do you guys see my iPad now? All right, so we'll try to get that fixed. It should be showing up, but we have a technical issue. It's showing up on my end here. So I do want to introduce our panel right now. Of course, we have Michael Brown, of course, a former finance committee chair, DNC, Avis Jones-DeWeaver, leadership strategist, Eugene Craig organization. What the hell? DeSantis looked like he didn't want to be there last night. Looked like I'm getting my butt kicked by this black man. But also, Eugene, the sign of disrespect in that DeSantis kept referring to him as Andrew, not mayor, but Gillum was referring to him as congressman, even though he resigned his post.
You know, class is class and classless is classless. I think DeSantis sees the writing on the wall. You know, he's pretty much on autopilot for the next 2 weeks or so to election day. I mean, the last poll that came out, so think Gillum up 12 points or whatever. You don't come back from that. I mean, Gillum's pulling that whole ticket. I mean, he's pulling Nelson over Scott. He's pulling some of the congressional races that otherwise would be much more competitive than what they are.
We have the iPad now, folks. Let me go ahead and play this for y'all. So the question to DeSantis was, do you consider Donald Trump to be a role model?
Jake, my wife and I were poking a little fun at ourselves because of the way that campaign was going, and I'm proud of my family, though. I don't actually read The Art of the Deal to my son Mason. He's a great kid. He smiles at anything, but that's not necessarily his cup of tea. So here's what I know. I was very passionate about moving our American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Andrew opposed that. A couple months ago, he said it was a mistake. He said we shouldn't recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Every president for 25 years has promised that on the campaign trail. Once in office, they didn't do it. Donald Trump promised it, and he followed through with it. And so to me, when you give your word and you follow through with it as an elected official, that is the model that we're supposed to do. He was right to move the embassy to Jerusalem. I was there for a historic event. I know Andrew didn't support that and doesn't think that's right, but to me, that was true leadership.
Mr. Mayor?
Confused by the question.
The question was whether or not he thinks President Trump is a good role model for the children of Florida.
That's what I thought originally. I got confused. So, no, he's not. Donald Trump is weak, and he performs as all weak people do. They become bullies.
Avis, what the hell? I mean, the question, is he a role model? You like, yeah, let's talk about Israel and the embassy.
Yeah, my child smiles at anything. That was so pitiful. First of all, I just have to say, a immaculate wardrobe choice today, Roland.
Well, you know, so every Monday I'm going to wear some gear from HBCU that I've spoken to or visited, and so I decided to rock a Virginia State today. So you know,
absolutely. And as a Trojan, I'm just like, yeah.
Oh Lord.
Okay,
Girl, go finish your comment.
But yes, absolutely. That was so. He was just tap dancing around the point, because who could say that Trump is a role model for anyone? So he couldn't sit up there and say that the truth, that he isn't. So he was trying to deflect, but I'm just happy with how Mayor Gillum answered that, and that he really sort of showed at the end, hey, what was the original question? You didn't answer it at all.
I mean, look, Mike, there's a thing called deflection and pivot. I mean, he just jerked away.
I didn't, well, first I feel sorry for the folks that he represented, because the fact that he was even a member of Congress with that kind of answer was a disgrace. The fact that he couldn't think about something better to say about that question was incredible. And then obviously you see the difference with Mayor Gillum, and he answered the question, made him look like a clown, and moved on. And he has actually, frankly, conducted himself, the mayor I'm talking about, on a level of being a candidate that's it's remarkable in the state of Florida. I know people think that Florida is just southern Miami. You got central Miami and I-4 corridor, and then you got that panhandle. He is appealing to all kinds of voters.
But you know, the thing is this, I think the question also should reframe, is DeSantis a role model for his own kid? I mean, I don't think, I mean, you can't, no, let's be serious here. You can't be a dad and give your kid the model of kowtowing to another man and, you know, literally, in the most sycophant way. Right. I mean, that's a real serious question. You know, are you a role model to your kid, and would you be a role model to the rest of the kids of Florida? And if that's how that's how you portray yourself to your kid, I don't think you're in a position to lead and be a role model to the rest of the kids of Florida. The right talks about snowflakes. We're going to raise a whole generation of snowflake men, a whole bunch of new Proud Boys,
Oh, speaking of whether you can be a role model or not.